Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope you had a great weekend. I just wanted to take a second and say that we are only 6 subscribers away from hitting 13,000 subscribers. And I can't thank you guys enough for supporting a smaller content creator. I enjoy making these videos for you guys, doing this research, giving you guys all the information that I can find, and just talking about these stocks, getting involved and creating a community. And I can't thank you guys enough for letting me be a part of that. So thank you guys so much for allowing me to create these videos and giving me the motivation and the drive to continue. Now, what we have been looking at recently is Palantir stock, looking into the market here as the AI industry has really taken a boom. We're going to be talking about what we could be seeing in terms of volatility over the next week as some of the biggest blue chip stocks out there are set to actually have their earnings be reported in this Q4 earnings season. Now, with PLTR, we're going to be talking about possible volatility, price zones, expectations, and also highlight some of the criticisms because it's important to understand where those criticisms are coming from. So before we get too far, I'm not a financial advisor. Hit that like button. I'm just collecting the data and dispatching it to you. Do your own research, of course, out there in the world. Now, what we see with PLTR, and before we get too far, I just want to share this picture with you guys because I thought it was great. You see here NVIDIA talking about the beginning of the year going possibly blowing off through 500 up into the mid 600s. You see that plane has taken off. Palantir, everybody is still waiting to aboard the plane for the year. I thought that was just a great picture, something I wanted to share with you guys. Now, what we see here, PLTR sitting at 1635. This is an interesting price zone because PLTR had a little bit of a pullback this previous week after it had a little bit of this pop up right here to about the 18s. PLTR right here before earnings comes out, I think this is a great foundational and a basis continuation. What I mean by that is PLTR hasn't had a lot of trading history within the 16s. So continuing this support level and building a foundation at the 16s is great because if we go below that, where PLTR does have support below that is between the 13s and the 15s. Palantir has consolidated at those price levels for some time. But what we see with PLTR right now holding at the 16s and even anywhere within the zone, I think is great pre-earnings because if Palantir smashes earnings, beats them, and changes anything with guidance, if we see improvements with that, we could see them reassume that $17 level of support and possibly testing this strong resistance level at the 20s. Now, if we think about it, last quarter earnings, Q3, Palantir was able to take the momentum, the positive news that we saw with the continuation of great metrics coming in terms of the actual report perspective. Palantir goes from 14s all the way up to 2185. Could PLTR be testing that? Time is only going to tell with what happens with that. Now, with the 5 stocks that are set to report, where we're going to see with the volatility, you got Microsoft, you got Google, you got Meta Platforms, Facebook, and you got Amazon and Apple, the biggest tech stocks out there that are going to be mega cap groups reporting their earnings. They're going to have a large impact in terms of a global macroeconomic perspective. Dial it down in terms of market cap. Let's get down to Palantir. What we see right here, earnings February 5th, earnings per share growth estimate of 75% year over year with a revenue growth estimate of 18.6% year over year. I showed you guys this article in yesterday's video, but just a recap of what we're seeing. And in terms of the actual earnings per share revisions, this is what we talked about with the actual analysis being set higher and higher and higher. And hopefully if Palantir can beat this, will be great in terms of Wall Street's expectations. And the fact that they've had 16 bullish earnings per share revisions in the last 90 days is a bullish, I want to say, quantitative expectation and prediction on Palantir's quarter earning results. Now, on top of that, one of the biggest catalysts that I personally see in PLTR, and this is my own opinion, I think a lot of other opinions are looking at the same factor. This is a great metric, and we've talked about this graphic before, looking at this bar chart. Thank you for this guy that shared it on Twitter, is the actual customer count and the commercial customer growth. And what Palantir is doing to really dive into the private sector. And we've talked about this. Getting involved in diversifying their clientele helps bring different revenue income streams from multiple different industries. And just in the actual last quarter, remember, we had a 34% year-over-year growth of customer count, and specifically the commercial customer count at 45%. And this is all in regards to their AIP bootcamp. And we talk about this with AIP software utilizing these large language models, which absolutely exploded in 2023. Hello, ChatGPT. Take a look at that, and all the other people that have dove into AI. All you hear, everything with every tech company, is how they're getting a piece of AI. Palantir is allowing potential clients to test these AI basically capabilities that they can provide for potential clients for free. They claim they can give you a 0 to a use case within 5 days, and they claim that people are at the table. Many people are on the wait list to get involved with the actual AIP software to improve productivity, to improve efficiency within their actual businesses. And on top of that, with Palantir, one of the things that we are seeing, and one of the biggest criticisms, and you have bearish articles that come out here, and we even have highlighted it before on Data Dispatch, but recently I have seen the argument for why PLTR is at a high valuation. It is at a high valuation. You can't deny that. That's just what the fact is. It's what the numbers tell us, and the numbers don't lie. But however, what the actual valuation is, I don't think is the defining factor on the decision for these possible investors to purchase these stocks or not. And I agree with this Simply Wall Street article here, talking about how the actual earnings, or what the actual valuation is more of a gauge of what the future revenue expectations are. And with that, Palantir is one of the highest and trendiest stocks that are out there right now in terms of an AI stock. And the reason is because they are a leading competitor, and we've seen this with the results in the fourth quarter of GAAP profitability. In talking about that, the price to sales ratio remains high on the merit of the strong future revenues. And right now, I agree with this, the deterioration in revenues right now is quite remote, what those expectations are, justifying this elevated price to sales ratio. If everybody thinks that Palantir is going to continue to grow, Palantir is going to continue to provide great revenue metrics, keep either being in line or beating their revenue, their actual quarter earning expectations, then they're going to take a bullish bet and pay for PLTR, whatever the price is now, if they think it's going to go up. All of this accumulation and theology behind this idea brings to the hypothesis that Palantir is going to continue to grow and will trade at a higher valuation. The risk that does come with that idea is the actual point where if Palantir were to some reason not meet or beat their expectations, and we see any type of decrease in future guidance, that has a lot of pressure riding on Palantir's back from Wall Street. And this is where PLTR could have at any point in time a large correction. I think that could happen if there was any large amount of bearish news behind PLTR because of the confidence that Wall Street is putting behind it, institutional, retail included, in the opinion that we're seeing online and what the data is showing us in terms, and we're seeing that data being represented in the valuation. So like I said, the valuation, in my opinion, is more of an actual gauge of what the future revenue expectations are. And with that, does just carry more risk. And Palantir is more of a speculative stock, of course, in nature, because it's a newer IPO company. It's only been traded for about 3 years publicly. However, it's still down about 50% from its all-time highs. So got to consider that. And also think of how the company compared to right now 3 years ago at its all-time highs. And think of the revenue, and it's not the revenue, excuse me, think of the valuation there and the price that anybody is willing to pay for a stock. And that's all that I have for you to leave with you guys. Peace out, take care, and I will catch you guys later. Like I said, make sure you always do your own risk assessment out there. Don't just listen to what I'm talking about. Take all the nuts and the bolts that you have in your brain, put them together, and make your own decision. Peace out, take care, and I'll catch you guys later.